You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone.
The science of quantum mechanics, he and a dozen other people, and he was frustrated by the lack of people to really grasp the enormity of what they had discovered. They discovered materialism doesn't work. That was a biggie, and people just couldn't grasp that. They still haven't grasped it very much. And Planck said, science progresses one funeral at a time. In other words, you got to wait for the old guard to pass on before the new people can come in with different ideas. And that's true. But, you know, another 3 decades, there's a lot of new people in 3 decades who are going to be passing through. And are they going to have an aversion to virtual reality? Geez, they spent their whole life playing virtual reality games. They get it. You know, they've played No Man's Sky, which is a virtual reality game that works a lot like our virtual reality. It wasn't evolved, it was programmed, but you only get a data stream to those individuals who are looking at a particular thing at a particular time. And when they look someplace else, that just goes away. You don't have to program it. It's all done on the fly. Everything's created on the fly. That's the way our virtual reality works. So when you have, and you know, that's just the beginning. That No Man's Sky just opened a door. You know, it doesn't define what's there. It just opened a door. Over the next couple of decades, that whole genre of what I call procedural programming is going to grow and evolve and get better. And these kids 3 or 4 decades from now, that's going to be natural. Seeing things like that natural and how that works. When you say, well, your reality works like that, they go, oh, really? Gee, that makes sense. You know, it won't be the, oh, no, that's impossible. That's stupid. You know, it couldn't possibly be that way. That's so incredibly out there that, you know, it couldn't possibly be true. They won't have that attitude. They'll have a different attitude altogether. They will have lived with virtual reality. So, yes, all the pieces of this thing are coming together. And we're probably, I'm 72. You're quite a bit younger than that, but I might even live long enough to see it all come together and go someplace. And there's a good probability that you will, and that your kids will, and almost definitely that your grandkids will. And once people realize what's going on, no, everybody won't become love the next day, obviously, but we'll start to see that what we're doing and how we're doing it is dysfunctional. It's just wrong. It's counterproductive. It's in the wrong direction. And no, we won't know exactly what the right direction is. We'll fumble around, and that'll take some decades too. But the whole thing will start moving, you see, toward lower entropy, because we'll understand better about what the world is, how it works, and all these things that you talk about ascended masters have been telling us for a long time will suddenly kind of come into focus, and people will say, oh, yeah, that's what they were talking about. I get it. And see, now people don't get it. Oh, they're just strange people who do strange things. And probably it's just a story people make up, and that couldn't possibly be true. And it just gets kind of sloughed off because it doesn't fit with our reality. 2 or 3 decades from now, it's going to fit with our reality much, much better than it does now. So yes, I see that we're not going to go for another millennium before we get to a big turning point. It may just be a couple of decades, could be 20 years. As much change as I've seen in a decade, if they keeps going at that rate, it won't be more than a couple of decades before, this whole planet will have a different perspective on reality, a whole different worldview. And from there, things will slowly start to fall into place. Things will start to change. People will start to change. This world, we look at this world and we say, boy, it's a crappy place. We got all this greed and nonsense, all this hate, all this stuff, this racism. And is this really a miserable place here? Well, what this place is a perfect reflection of who we are. That's us. We make it to be exactly like that. It's us. And you can say, well, the problem is these 10 people, those are the leaders, the presidents, the politicians, whatever. We got rid of them, everything would be better. It wouldn't. We got rid of them, they would be replaced by something very similar sooner or later, because they represent us. We create this reality. This reality is dysfunctional because we, the people, are dysfunctional. That's why this reality is functional. When we, the people, start to grow up, those leaders and politicians, they'll start to grow up too, because they're just a reflection of us. You see? So the way you change the world isn't by starting at the top and replacing leaders. That isn't going to change the world. All you're doing there is treating symptoms. That's a symptom relief. Yeah, it might make us look a little more civilized for a short time, but eventually we'll just regenerate it, because that's the way we are. We haven't really changed any. We see that in our history. Oh, we get rid of this despot, and some other despot someplace else takes their place. It's just, we haven't really progressed that much that quickly. It's because it's a reflection of we the people. We the people have grown up over the last 1,000 years, some, and so have our institutions. But it's still not all that good. We got a long way to go. But if we the people change, our institutions will all change with us. That's not the problem. It's we the people. You have to change the average level of consciousness quality. You have to lower the entropy. You have to raise the love quotient. And when that happens, the politics, the national stuff, all of that infrastructure and all of that leadership stuff will all change too, because it's us. That's just the way it is. So you don't change things by cutting off the head. That isn't it. And it just grows another head. It's like the Hydra, it just grows another head, because the head reflects us. What you got to do is change it from one person at a time at our level, people. When the people change, it'll change. So we don't really need to even worry about that stuff. When we get more loving and caring and cooperative, so will our governments, so will, our politicians, so will everybody else. So that's the way you have to solve the problem, by changing yourself. You're the only person you can change. You can't change anybody else. You can't make anybody else grow up. So how do you change the world? Go look in a mirror. Start working on yourself. Change yourself. That's the ultimate place you have to start, and that's the only solution that will work. Any other work, anything else you do, might make the symptoms a little better for a while, but in the long term, it changes nothing if you don't change yourself. So that's kind of maybe a good place to end it. But that's really what it all comes down to. It's us growing up individually as individuated units of consciousness, and here we are. We're doing this, and we're in this long line of progression. Okay, we had the bacteria who learned to cooperate into multi-celled things. Then we have the multi-celled things that learn to cooperate into cells that service each other, cooperative units. That's what we are as humans. We got all kinds of organs and things, and they all work together. Well, now the next step in that process is humans have to get together. Now, we're not going to bond like cells, shoulder to shoulder. We're not cells. We do this at our space, in our way, and we have to get together to make one bigger thing too. And that bigger thing will be a planet that is based on caring and consideration and cooperation and sharing. It'll be a love-based place, and that's where we're going. That's where evolution is taking us. You see, we're consciousness. It's not evolution of this physical thing. This is a virtual world. The real thing driving is the evolution of consciousness, and consciousness is evolving toward love. That's what it does. You can set it back, but it's going to keep on chugging. That's the thing about evolution. It's persistent. It just keeps on chugging, and low entropy is the best solution to an information system. So it's going to work toward lowering the entropy, and it'll continue. No matter what we do, we will eventually end up in that position. So it's assured that we will one day be a planet that's cooperative and caring and loving, because that's where evolution is going, and evolution will have its way in the end. It's just, how long do we have to wait before that happens? But it will happen. So that's the good news. We will get there. But it sure would be nice if we could get there sooner instead of later. Well, change yourself. That's the only thing you can do, is change yourself. Or I shouldn't say the only thing. It's the biggest thing you can do. You can help educate other people. You can help. That's what you're doing. You're passing this information along. You're helping educate other people. That's important, particularly now we have an internet, because you'll put this up and eventually you'll have hundreds of thousands of people. I'll put it up on my, YouTube, and eventually I have hundreds of thousands of people. I usually get about 10 or 20,000 in the first 2 weeks it's up. So you'll get lots and lots of people are exposed to it. You see, education, that's important, but you can't change any of those people. All you can do is give them an opportunity to grow themselves. They have to reach out and make the change. They have to do it. So yes, you can do other things besides change yourself. You can help other people, but you can't direct them. You can't force them. You can only provide them an environment in which makes it easier for them to grow themselves. That's all you can do. You see, and once you're doing that, then basically you're doing it. There isn't anything else. So you're doing that, and I'm doing that, and there's hundreds of other people, thousands of other people trying to do that now too. And we're all out there on the internet, and we're all getting 10,000 views. So you see, it builds, it grows. And when the time comes for the high priest to tell us that there's something bigger than us out there that's we're a subset of, hopefully there'll be enough people with the right idea that we won't devolve into religious wars anymore. It won't be into a greed and a I'm in charge, I have power. No, I have power. It'll be into, yeah, okay, that's where we're going. That's what this is all about. Yeah, there is something higher. Yeah, and we're a part of it. We're consciousness. It's the consciousness system. So it's not about these bodies. So that's where I think we're going, and I think we got a chance to get there soon, decades soon. Certainly less than 5 decades. Certainly less than what your children ought to see it. Your grandchildren, that's a good thought, isn't it? That's a happy thought that your children and your grandchildren might find a world like that, where humans have been struggling to create that world for, 1 million years or so. And I should even say critters, consciousness here on this planet has been struggling for that for millions and millions of years. And we're just that far away from having it all together to do it. That's good. But that's why you're doing what you're doing. That's why I'm here talking to you, right? We're part of the solution.
Wow. That is a ridiculously extraordinary answer, as this entire time with you has been. I think it's just one thing to note, collectively is one thing, but we have the power to do it as an individual. We don't have to wait for anything. I think that you're suggesting that we can do that right now. And ideally, once you experience more love, caring, freedom, expanded consciousness, you want to share that with others, because it feels better to be in love than it does in fear, than it does in lack, than it does in competition. There's no growth. And I love your physics term, entropy. And I'm aware of that from looking into Dan Winter's work, where he talks about entropy, negentropy, which is essentially just the opposite of, decay. I'm not sure if you know or aware of his work, but I've watched hours of his physics videos and it's just beyond me. But I'm like, Dan, what the heck do I do with myself? And essentially he's talking about building up a charged spin density aura, so we can take memory through death and have more options on this plane. Just very simple, and having shareable thoughts. And that helps us build our aura, that helps us have more cooperation, but also backs it up by deep physics that I have no idea what he's talking about, but I get into it. But kind of like what you're talking about, the physicists that have an open mind, like you. I love that, where you're a physicist, you're a scientist, but you're open enough to look at something that you say, I'm not saying that this doesn't exist. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to test it. And then I'm going to bring science to it. Now we're really working together, So really extraordinary, powerful stuff. As I said, I could talk to you all day. I just want to make a note that I'll want to respect your time, because we've been here for a bit. So no need to rush on my end, but just share that thought with you, because I'll sit here. Okay. I know when you have a master on the other side, you don't rush them. You sit down, you take your seat, and you listen. And it's been a real privilege and a blessing just to hear you speak and share your wisdom. So I'll just ask, if there's anything that you wish that I had asked, If you want to share some practical insights into, you touched on them a little bit about out of body, because I know a lot of people, when you're so stuck in this reality and you don't lucid dream, you can't do that, you can't remember your dreams, you're waking up and you're going to your job and it's so repetitive, you can't see another option. Really challenging stuff. So, I spent a lot of time learning to get out of body, and I was like, oh, well, once I could do that, then it's about getting into this body and then grounding that stuff that I know, grounding love and compassion and service and all that kind of stuff, not just staying out in the fun realms. So I guess the question is, practical tips for someone experiencing that reality, anything that you wish that I had asked, and any kind of closing remarks you'd like to leave everybody with. And then feel free to go as long as you want. I will sit here and listen for all day. But just deep, deep gratitude and appreciation for you and your work and everything you've been up to.
Okay. Well, you talk about, things to do. But again, I would like to emphasize that it's not the doing. You said, like, you build up this aura and you build it, people have the idea that they have to go do those things, or even getting out of the rut and getting out of body. Oh, that's something I have to learn how to do. It's not the doing. Matter of fact, it's the doing that gets in the way. When you approach these things from an intellectual space of doing is an intellectual space. Being is more of a feeling space. When you approach these things from an intellectual space like that, and you want to do it, you generally get in your way. You generally prohibit it from happening. The good news is you don't have to build up all this stuff. You don't have to, now I got to make an aura or something or other. How do I go about doing that? God, there's just so much to do and I can't do any of this stuff. It gets frustrating. You don't have to do anything. You see, it's not a doing. If you just be, if you just get rid of that fear, which get rid of that ego, get rid of those beliefs, all the rest of this stuff just happens. If you got rid of all your fear, and out of body would be trivial. You just shift your focus. It's done. You see, what keeps you from being able to do that is your fear and your beliefs and your ego. That's the problem. And I know that's hard for people to deal with, because that fear, belief, and ego, that's them. I mean, that is them right down to the core. So you're saying you got to change that core, and that's hard to do. But you don't really have to, build an aura or do this or, create that. It's not that. Just get rid of that fear, ego, and belief, and everything else will just work the way it's supposed to. You will just become that, you see? So that's the thing. It's not all that complicated. It really isn't about a process that's complicated. It's just about growing up. It's just about lowering your entropy, increasing the quality of your consciousness. It's about evolution. It's about becoming. Evolution means you change. You evolve to something else. And you don't have to change your environment to do that. It's not like, oh, yeah, I got to work every day because I got a car payment and a big mortgage, and, I'm trudging and I'm trapped in this, evil machine. It's not that at all. You can grow up in any circumstance. You can grow up under any conditions. You don't have to go put on a yellow robe and cross your legs and, get in a cave for 10 years. That isn't necessary. You don't need a lot of peace and quiet and space. I got 6 kids and, I have to work 2 jobs and there's no time for me to meditate. It's not true. You can do this in minutes. You can do this in seconds. It's growing up. It's getting rid of the fear. You don't have to meditate to get rid of fear. You see, everybody can do it right where they are in the situation they're in. And they can, for the most part, just keep on with that situation. Keep making that car payment. Keep making that mortgage payment. It's not a problem, because what you'll learn is when you approach your job and the people that you work with out of love and caring, the job gets a lot more fun. And when that job runs into a nasty boss that's just a real jerk and whatever, it doesn't make you angry. It doesn't upset you. It doesn't cost you any sleep. It's just a part of life you get to deal with positively. Yes, okay, everything in your life won't suddenly, be wonderful, but the things that are tough, well, that's all right. Tough is okay. You learn from tough. Let's go on, you see? It's good. So your whole life starts to turn around and be good. So this rut that you're in turns out to be a good learning opportunity. You can learn a lot in that rut. You don't have to change the rut before you can learn. You'll never change if that's the case. You have to realize you are where you are, doing what you're doing. Grow up. You can grow up anywhere. Get rid of the fear. Doesn't need special spaces. You don't need to know how to make ores. You don't need to know how to go out of body. Just grow up and all that stuff will happen. It'll all become accessible to you. You'll be able to do the things that these ascendant masters do. You will be able to live in that space. You see, you will change the people at your work. They will see you. Now, you don't change people by going out and saying, here, I got some ideas. Here's how you need to live. You need to become love. You need to get rid of that fear and take responsibility for yourself. You go out and tell people that, they'll just cut you off, think you're a nut, and, you will be ostracized someplace. You change people by example. They say, well, that guy's always happy, got a smile on his face, and he's a big contributor at work. He seems to know things that other people don't know. Well, because when you get rid of all that fear and ego and stuff, you start to know things that other people don't know. That's just natural. Your decision space gets bigger. You got more information. So they want to be like you. They want to do what you do. They see how you work, how productive you are, no matter what you're doing, what kind of crank you've got that you're turning, on whatever machine you're chained to, in this economic life that you got to make payments. You can be effective there as well as anywhere. Anywhere there's people, you can be effective. You can help others. You can contribute to the overall solution. You can grow up yourself. You see, this idea that you got to make a change. I got to change. I got to sell my house, some of the things, we got to go live in a goat hut, in the desert someplace. That's the only way to find enlightenment. Nonsense. You can find enlightenment on the factory floor if that's where you turn your crank, or in a hospital, or, in an office, or wherever. It's changes on the inside that matter, not changing your environment. Again, we think we got to do something, change our outside environment. That'll really help a lot. It's not necessary. So just take responsibility, start working on those fears, find those negative feelings you've got, trace them back to the fear, start working on that fear. Everything else will take care of itself. You grow up enough, out of body's a piece of cake. Oh, you'll say, gee, I do that naturally. I didn't know that was out of body. So it's just a natural thing. It's not something you really have to work at. Yeah, sure, your mind picks up things. Yeah, you know stuff. Yeah, you got an idea what's going to happen in the future because future databases is there. It's for you to look at. It's for you to do. You understand all sorts of things. You see things in a bigger picture. That makes you real effective at work. It makes you real effective at home. You're a good example. So that's how you do it. You don't have to change your life. You have to change yourself. And yourself will change everything around you. All the people that you interact with, all your relationships will start to get better when you get better. And that's how you help them change, not by giving them lectures or passing them books or having conversations. You can do that on the side, but that's not the big thing. The big thing is just being authentic, being yourself, being grown up. And you will change everybody that you interact with. You will. We as consciousness are netted with everyone else. Our consciousness are like a big net, like a big internet. There's this big consciousness internet where all consciousness are netted. All you have to do is, put in the URL and up comes that consciousness. You can interact with them. You can communicate with them. You can have conversations. You can discuss things mind to mind. It's all there. It's just intent is your URL. You can prevent things from coming in as well. You can block things off. But all of that's possible. And if you just grow up, all of that just starts to become natural. You start to know in the office that if you do that this way and this way, that's going to be a big success or it's going to be a big failure. And you're going to have that, your intuition starts telling you things. And pretty soon you learn to trust that intuition because you're getting data from all other sources. You don't have to go learn anything. You don't even have to ever meditate. You just get there by growing up. You see? So in a way, it's even simpler than anything. The whole point we're here is to grow up. That's why we're here in this entropy reduction trainer is what we're in. And all we have to do is try. And if you try, you will get help. It will work. The system wants us to succeed. As we lower our entropy, we're the system. We're part of the system. We're pieces of the system. As we lower our personal entropy, the entropy of the system gets lowered too. You see, we're the system's strategy for evolution. That's what we're doing here. We're their strategy for evolution. We grow up, it grows up. So that's, once you get that big picture, all you have to do is focus on your fears, get rid of them, and just let everything else take place as it does. All the rest of that stuff will just fall into place. You don't have to go out and do it. And in as much as you try to go out and make it happen, I want to go out of body, I want to go out of body, I want to get out of this rut, and you're working on that from the intellect, what that does is starts building up fear. The fear is, I don't like it here. I'm trapped. I can't get out. I can't grow here. I'm wasting away. And all of that fear does what? It helps create a probability of that fear coming true. You bring your fears into fruition. You create your fears here in this reality. So once you get into that, I got to do this. I'm having trouble. I can't do it. It's hard to do. Oh no. I need a better teacher. I need a better process. You see, all of that stuff just makes it worse. That's like putting shackles on your arms and tying you to the process. So you got to let all that go. You got to let that stuff go. You just have to be authentic, live your life straight up, get rid of your fear, and let everything else take care of itself. And it will. You'll get help from the system. You'll have synchronicities will start to happen to you. Things you need to grow up will just pop right in front of you. All you got to do is reach out and grab them. The system will work with you. It wants you to succeed. But if you're not going to work with the system, if you're doing everything out of your intellect, the system, you're on your own. The system can't help you. You're not listening. So that's, I guess, the advice. You don't need to do anything. You need to be something different than what you are. That's the key. And that will not only save yourself, it'll save all your relationships, it'll help your children, and it will make this world change as well. So that's easy now. You don't have to go get on the ramparts and wave a flag. You just got to fix yourself. So that's the thing. Now, if getting on the ramparts and waving a flag helps with education, passes the message along, well, go grab your flag and do that if you're inclined to do it. It's not that that's wrong. It's just that that's not really the core thing. Only if that helps other people grow up. And generally, when you're on a rampart waving a flag, you're not so much about peace and love as you are about control. You want to change the control. You don't want those bad guys in control. You want the good guys, of course, yourself, to be in control, or people like you, or people who agree with you. Well, you see, that's all part of the problem. Control isn't the way we get there. You see, control's the wrong approach. Growing up is the right approach. And you can help other people grow up just by being you and by growing up. You don't have to do or say much of anything. You'll know what to say, and you'll know what not to say. You never tell people anything that they can't process. It makes them go the other way. You can't grab people and say, you need to become love. That won't help a bit, you see. But if you're love and you treat them like that, it'll help them grow up. So I guess that's all for a summary, I guess that would be it. It's not as hard as you think. Just be it. Grow yourself up, and out of body will become a piece of cake. Getting data from the databases will be a piece of cake. Remote viewing won't be something you have to do. It's just something that naturally comes to you. It's part of your life. You're going someplace, you're doing something, you want to kind of know what's going on there. Oh, yeah, okay, that's the way it is. You see, it's not like, I have to lie down and do this and do that and get my little envelope and do through this procedure and remote view that site. It's not that complicated. It's all there for you to have and interact, and it just becomes an everyday part of your life. You live in this larger reality. You don't have to go out of body, or you don't have to really remote view or whatever. All that's just part of your space that you live in. You live in a bigger space. So that's what you do when you grow yourself. And that's a nice place to be. It makes your whole life happy and fun and interesting and busy, because you got a lot of things to do. There's a lot of people out there you need to talk to. That's sort of the way it is. So it's easy in a way. Changing yourself is a tough thing, but the only antidote for fear is courage. It's hard to change yourself, because if you figure, well, if I was just myself, if I was really authentic, God, I don't know what that would look like. Most of us have no idea who we are inside. We only know who we are outside. We know our image, and we're pretty careful to keep that pretty clean and just the way we want it. But inside, who are you? Who are you at the authentic level being? Most people don't have a clue, and they're terrified to go there because what if it's ugly? What if I'm myself and nobody likes me? That sort of thing. It's a scary thing to own yourself. Say, that's me. That's who I am. I own it. Now, what am I going to do with it? But you can't change it until you own it. If you don't own it, how can you change what you don't own? How can you change what you deny? You see, so the first step takes courage. You got to be yourself. Be who you are. If you're ugly, that's the way you are. Accept it. Then change it. You see? And you change it by really wanting to change it. Not thinking about, oh, I should change it. Now, it's like people say, I should quit smoking. And they then say, well, I will. My family wants me to quit. I'm a nuisance at work. I have to go stand outside, in the door, and a bunch of little group of smokers stand out there and smoke. We kind of, are ostracized that way. And okay, so they think I'm going to quit. It's not nice to smoke. Well, if that's the case, you're going to have terrible withdrawals because you're trying to quit from the intellect. Your intellect thinks it would be a good thing to do, and you will have the worst withdrawals ever. It'll be a terrible thing, and you probably won't quit. You'll quit for 6 months or whatever, and you'll go back, you'll start again because you're doing it because you think you should. You see, that's part of your image. You're doing it for a new image. It's the wrong reason. You got to do it because you want to, because you just don't want to be a drug addict. That's why you quit. And if that's a commitment and you really just don't want to be that, you won't have any withdrawals at all, or they'll be very, very minor. You'll walk off from it and never miss it. That's the difference. Being level changes things. You change your reality at the being level. From the intellect, you struggle and struggle and struggle and don't seem to ever be able to get there. And if you look at your life, how's my life? If you say, it's a struggle. I struggle with my spouse. I struggle with my kids. I struggle with my boss. I struggle with my coworkers. I struggle with everything. Nothing is the way I want it, and that upsets me. If that's your life, then you're normal. That's a normal life. That's the way most people feel. So everybody feels that way. That's your fear. That's your ego. That's your beliefs, and they make you miserable. Most of your pain is self-inflicted. So if you don't like living in that struggle and with that pain, all you have to do is fix it by fixing yourself. You don't have to fix those other people. It's not that your boss and your spouse and your kids have problems and they need to change. It's that you need to change. And when you change, they'll just automatically change. They'll just automatically start to act differently because you're part of their problem, because you're coming at them self-focused. I want you to be the way I want you to be. And whenever anybody comes at you and says, I want you to be the way, you need to be the way I want you to be, first thing they do is they go the opposite direction. They say, no way. I'm not your slave. Back off. And your kids will tell you that. Your dog will tell you that. Here's an example. Take your dog, stand him up, pet him on the head, then reach over and just press him on the side. Just try to press him sideways. And what that dog will do instinctually is push back. He will resist being pressed sideways. Nobody likes being pushed around. Nobody likes being told what to do. Everybody says, I have free will. I'm going to make my own decisions. And okay, your 2-year-old feels that way. And that's why they're the terrible twos, right? But you have to make decisions for them because they can't make them for themselves. But as people grow up and as you're dealing with adults, let them be however they are. Don't try to change them. Don't try to make them be the way you want them to be. That sets yourself up as I know best for everybody. If everybody just was the way I wanted them to be, this would be a wonderful world. If I were the dictator, everything would be wonderful here. No, it wouldn't. We'd have a dictator. It wouldn't be wonderful at all, no matter who you are, even if you're, some wise, benevolent person. You can't dictate. That's not real. People have to be themselves. They have to be authentic. Trying to force them to behave the way you want doesn't help them. You just want them to have another layer of their image that you like. That's not helpful. You see, you got to let them be whoever they are and deal with that with grace and with love and with caring, not with anger because they're not doing it your way. So all of our angst, all of our problems, all of this sense of struggle and pain, It's mostly all self-created. It's all ours, just like all those horrible politicians and leaders and, CEOs and other people that are greedy and trying to, ruin the life for the rest of us. They're not really the problem. It's us. We're the problem. And of course, they're one of us. They're part of us. But that's the problem. So it's the same with your kids. It's not that you got bad kids. It's that they don't like you pushing them around. So you don't push them. Let them make the decisions. Give them choices and be there to catch them if they make a bad choice. But we learn through bad choices. We learn through, the mistakes we make, not because somebody tells us. We don't grow up because somebody tells us how. We grow up to experience. And that's how everybody grows up. So that's, if you want a happy life, you want to be, in a peace and joy, you want to really be effective at work, you want to have good relationships, get rid of that fear. Out of body isn't the way you go. Getting data out of the databases, that's not important. Grow up is important, and the rest of that stuff happens. So that's kind of the message. Don't feel stuck anywhere. You're not stuck. You just think you're stuck. And if you believe you're stuck, well, then you are stuck because you've just created a wall around stuck, and there you are, you see? But if you have a bigger picture than that, you're not stuck. I mean, even if you're working 2 jobs, just to make ends meet and you're constantly on the run, you're not stuck. You can grow up. You can become love in that situation. If you're poor, if you're disadvantaged, if you're whatever it is, doesn't matter. You can grow up. You got to take that opportunity and do something with it. That's the thing. We have choices. We can wallow around in our self-pity and our victimhood. And of course, then we don't go anywhere. We're just stuck there in that wallowing self-pity victimhood. That's nowhere at all. You see, that's putting the biggest, deepest wall around us altogether. That is stuck, but it's our own stuck. We're stuck in ourselves. It's not somebody else stuck us. It's not life has stuck me in this position. My mortgage has stuck me. My spouse and my kids have stuck me in a job I hate. It's not that at all. You define all that stuckness in your head. Change your perspective, and you can immediately be unstuck and start growing. So don't look for the outside world and other people to give you the boost that you need to go forward. You don't need any boost to go forward. Matter of fact, as you grow up, you will be a boost to other people going forward. So I guess that I probably repeated that a whole lot, but it's a real major idea that most people nod their heads and say, that's good, and then it's gone. You see, they don't really get it down to the bean level. But I find that if I only say it once, nobody gets it. If I say it a few times, more people get it. And if I say it a lot, it actually gets deeper. The more you hear it, the more it starts to work its way down into a core level where you can actually act on it and not just say, yeah, I guess that's so, but I'm stuck. And no, you're not stuck. You just think you're stuck. You're only stuck if you stick yourself because of your perspective. You got a stuck perspective. So everybody, lighten up, have a good time. Yeah, it's about having some fun here. Yeah, it's not about unhappiness at all. That's just, you're on the wrong path if you're unhappy.
Man, yes, truly extraordinary, phenomenal. Once again, it's so simple, and I think it's important to repeat it. You're a person who has an extraordinary background, extraordinary research, intelligence, working with some of the smartest people on the planet on advanced physics and all kinds of stuff. And the base message is be authentic, be yourself, shift your perspective, open up to love and caring. And that's the core root message, is extremely powerful. Not to do, just to be it and start to act that way. So, just to listen to you, affirm that and affirm that and affirm that, it really is the most important thing. It's not, the 6-step Tony Robbins approach, although I love Tony Robbins, he's awesome, but it's not like, 6 steps and then boom, enlightenment and everything's wonderful. It's, I make this commitment to this, to who I want to be, to how I want to act in this world, and how I want to move forward, and expanding your perspective to your own love, your own joy, your own passion, your own creation, and owning that you can create that is very powerful message. Simple, powerful, beautiful. thank you so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom and for all the work that you've done. I highly recommend everybody check out your YouTube channel, your books, which I'm excited to dive into. So as a closing, where can people find more about you, take a look at your experiments, go deeper down the rabbit hole, check out the science, and anything you want to leave the listeners with? Just so they can connect.
I'll give you a list of things. One, you can go to the website. My website is www.mybigtoe.com. Okay, and mybigtoe, all one word, .com. From there, you can probably find links to a lot of things. But if you want to know where I'm going to be, because I travel around a lot, give talks, places, you can go to www.mbtevents. That's MBT as in My Big Toe Events. And that's the website of Donna and Keith Warner, who are my kind of organizers. They do all the work to get the travel and where we're staying and who we're going to talk to and the venues and all that stuff, put stuff up on YouTube for me. And they take care of a lot of that for me. They're wonderful people. And if you go there, they'll have schedules and things of where we're going. And somebody asked me, well, where are you going to be next? I really don't know. I go where they tell me. I talk when I'm supposed to, you see, but they do all the organization and they know more about where I'm going and what I'm going to be doing than I do. Then you can go to the YouTube site. The YouTube site you can get to from www.youtube.com and then do a / and then it's TWCJR, T as in Tom, W as in Warren, C as in Campbell, JR as in Junior, and 44 as in born in 1944. So TWCJR44 is what you do after youtube.com, and that will get you into the YouTube site. But if you can't remember any of that, just go Google Thomas Campbell or My Big Toe or MBT and search around a little bit, and you will find links that will take you to all of those places. Books, I make my books available for free on Google Books. You can get a book there, all the books there. And of course, you have to read them on a computer. That's the way it is at Google Books. That's maybe not too convenient. Otherwise, you can buy them usual places, Amazon. You can buy them any bookstore. If they don't have them, they can get them. They can look them up in their little list of books to order, and they can get them for you. So you can get them all the usual places. You can get them from my website. I sell the books there on the website too. So wherever you want, but they are free. All my videos are basically, the reason I have so many videos is every talk, every workshop, a lot of the interviews I do, like this one, will end up on YouTube. So I've got literally thousands of hours there, which is just totally overwhelming for most people. 450 videos. God, where do I start? And then most of these videos are like, an hour and a half long or 2 hours sometimes or more. Sometimes they're broken into pieces, but it's still very overwhelming. People want to look at a video for 15 minutes. They don't want to look at a video for 2 hours. That's like a movie. So anyway, take it in short pieces. Don't feel like you got to get it all at once. You got all the rest of your life to do this, and take it a little bit at a time. 2, I would recommend if you just want an overview. One would be a workshop I did in Marseille, France, about a year ago, 2016 maybe. I did that. Anyway, look up Marseille. Once you get to my website, you can do searches, title searches and things. So search on Marseille, and you will get a series of videos. It'll be pretty long, but that'll be a kind of a discussion over the whole of My Big Toe. It'll talk about everything, science and philosophy and everything else will all come into there. So that would be one. And just do it piecemeal, 15, 20 minutes at a time. Then 3 or 4 days later, do another 15 minutes. You'll get through it eventually. The other one would be one I did in 2011, which I did in Calgary, Canada. And again, it's this workshop, Calgary. And that also was a one over the world. You get at least a little bit of a look into all of the aspects of what it is I do and talk about. None of them are real deep, because deep takes time and deep takes a lot of your study. Deep really isn't at the intellect. You can read my book and memorize every word on every page and still not learn a damn thing worth learning if you don't take that down to the being level and grow up from it. So it's not a matter of how much you read or how many movies you look at or how many videos you see. You got to think about what you're hearing and apply it to your life, and that takes time. So you may watch a half an hour of my video, and it may be 6 months before you've actually digested that as a part of your life, and you want to do the next, hour. So that's what I mean when I say take a lifetime. It's not like if you read everything tomorrow, you'd suddenly be wise and an ascended master. It doesn't work that way. It's not intellectual. You got to grow up, and that's slow. So if it takes you 6 months to go through a set of videos, well, that's not a big deal. Take whatever time you need. Do it at your own pace. Good thing about YouTube now is they'll let you come back from wherever you were last. They'll bring it back up again at where you left off, so you won't have to try to remember to write the times down or anything. So that would be places to go to find out more about me and more about what I do. As far as about me personally, the first section in my book, like the first 30 pages or something, probably more than that, first 100 pages, 200 pages, I don't know. The first section of my book is mainly a little autobiography about me and how I got into this, my meeting Bob Monroe, and you'll get all of the detail of that story of how all that came about, because that's what I start off with. I got 5 sections, 3 books. It's a trilogy. My Big Toe is a trilogy, and in the first book, each book has 2 sections in it. So then I got 6 sections for 3 books. And section 1 is kind of my story of how I got into this. What's a nice physicist like me doing in a place like this? Sort of a thing. How did I get into out of body when I'm a scientist? But that's where you'll find kind of autobiographical material. The rest of it is all, my talk on consciousness and life and growing up and science and that sort of thing. So that's it. So there's lots of stuff out there. If anybody's interested, there's tons of it out there. And that's my purpose. That's my point, is to make this stuff out there. And that's why I make it all free. Everything is free if you just take the time to do it. And there's also a forum where you can go. If you go to the website, my website, there'll be a link there to a forum. And there's lots of people there that have also swallowed the red pill and have, they talk about, things that are of interest to them and their own growing up and so on. So you can get some information there too. So that's about it. And now there's this video that we have here with Matthew that's going to go out into the world, and that hopefully will trigger a few people to dig in deeper and to take charge of their life. And like you say, be responsible, own it. And then once you own it, you got the opportunity to change it once you own it. So
amazing.
That's it.
Awesome. Well, Tom, man, once again, just thank you so much for this incredible download. You're truly an amazing individual. There's so many rabbit holes we could have touched on. Like I have a whole list of questions I didn't even get into because man. But I'll have to have you back on the podcast at a later date. We'll give some people and myself some time to digest all this. But just deep love and gratitude for you, for your work. Thank you for everything that you're doing for everybody and who you are. So thanks for coming on, man. And I definitely invite everybody to go check out your material.
Okay. Thank you very much for the invitation. I appreciate it. I see it as an opportunity.
Welcome. You're very welcome. Thanks, guys, for watching. Check in the next one. Peace.
So long.